Ciao Milanisti, it's your boy Kush in the Milan Corner. Finally, Milan have their first arrival of the summer mercato in Divock Origi. Is Marco Asensio next? What is going on with Hakim Ziyech's move to Milan? That's what we're going to be figuring out in today's episode of Rumor or Real. These are some of the profiles and stories we're going to be looking at. And where exactly does the Divock Origi move sit on this graph in a new segment I like to call Plot the Official Moves. So kicking this off with Divock Origi's arrival in Milan, guys, we saw him pretty much exit the airport. We saw him then sit in his car. We then saw him get out of his car at the hotel, guys. Is it really important to turn this whole thing into TMZ? Can we just let the guy come to Milan in peace? But how important, how good is this move of Origi to Milan? So let's figure that out in a new segment I like to call Plot the Official Moves. All right, so we're gonna take this back to pretty much stats 101, guys. So the right side in the graph, guys, this is pretty much where you want to be in that dark green territory where you have an important move that brings us closer to the next title. The light green area is also fine. You don't have as important a move, for example, Florenzi, but does bring us closer to the next title. On the left side, this is where you want to stay away from. We can have some important moves, the yellow territory, but that move actually doesn't bring us closer to that title. For example, Brahim Diaz to Milan. In the moment, it was important, but didn't really progress us forward. And that red area, you really want to stay away from that. That's a bad decision. That's not a very important move, and it doesn't even help us progress forward. So where exactly on this graph does the Divock Origi move land? Guys, I'm gonna have to place that right here. I do think it is an important move because we don't really have any other strikers. This guy is of good quality. And I do think he does take us closer to the next title, the next Serie A or Champions League title, but only so much so. And before we talk about Asensio coming to Milan, guys, it's time to talk about OneFootball. Asensio to Milan is pretty much gonna cost us around that 25 million mark. His salary is gonna be about 5.5 million. But you know what's free? The OneFootball app. Guys, this amazing app with all things football. I used to use these guys before they even started sponsoring these videos. That's how amazing this app is. This is my go-to place to see all things football, match highlights, transfer news, top news from the world of football, 160 different leagues in 16 different languages. This app is crushing it in the game of football. So if you haven't downloaded it already, I don't know why you guys are waiting. The best place to get your football news is the OneFootball app. And the best place to get the OneFootball app is by clicking the link in the description. It's as easy as that, guys. Click the link in the description, download the app, and be in the know in the world of football. Milan is definitely reeling behind in the strike department. I mean, we have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he's not even going to be available January of 2023. We have Olivier Giroud. How old is he? 36, 37 years old. Had a pretty decent season last season, but can he actually replicate that this year? Milan is clearly banking on Ziyech to be a good player. They're definitely going to want to hold on to him, and they see him as a future possibility. But we also need results now, and that's pretty much the hole that Divock Origi fills. Here's the thing, guys. I don't think Milan is going to be signing any more center forwards. If you look at how careful this management is being with their signings and with their recruitment. So at this point in time in the strike department, guys, I think this is it. It's Origi, Giroud, Ziyech, and pretty much you're looking at Ante Rebic being there. To see a big time center forward profile like I've seen in the comment section, you guys talking about Belotti, that ain't happening. This is it. Now we focus on finding that right winger and finding that central attacking midfielder. So Origi has arrived to Milan. The next profile that is being linked with us is Marco Asensio. So this is a profile I talked about a couple episodes ago now. There have been reports that the 30 million that Milan saved on the Botman deal is being reallocated to Asensio. I also saw that it's getting reallocated to Ziyish, and then reallocated to Zaniolo, and then reallocated to Charles De Ketelaere. Guys, that's 120 million already. That's obviously not happening. So let's start off with Marco Asensio. So there were some reports that there are two offers that he has received. One is from Milan, one is from Liverpool. Apparently the guy's salary is around 7 million. He wants 5.5 million. Apparently Milan's owners have said that we can give him 5 million. I'm not buying it. I don't think Milan has 5 million to just give to Asensio. That deal would also cause a transfer fee, which is going to be around that 25 million mark. I'm not buying the story, guys. A couple of episodes ago, I'd called this a rumor. I pretty much want to still call it a rumor, but there are a lot of reports that are saying that Milan and Liverpool are the only ones who've made an offer. So I'm going to upgrade this from rumor to unlikely, but I don't see Asensio coming to Milan at all at this point. Which brings us to the next profile in Charles De Ketelaere. The good thing is that Milan is looking at young attackers. I love that, but it doesn't look like this guy is going to be coming to Milan either. At this point in time, it's the same story. The 30 million from Botman getting reallocated to CDK. I don't think Milan is looking at him as a priority at this point in time because we have very similar profiles. The right winger who can also play as a central attacking midfielder. CDK is that profile. But he's a profile that's going to cost Milan in the range of about 30, close to 30 million to convince Club Brugge to send the player to Milan. And at this point in time, I just don't think that Milan are ready to spend that amount of money right away. I think they're going to try out some other avenues first. And if they cannot succeed in those areas, they're probably going to come to CDK. The reports are saying that during the conclusion of this week, Milan is going to try and firm up on CDK. But a couple episodes ago, I had called CDK's move to Milan as possible. I'm now going to downgrade that to unlikely. Of the 4 profiles that I just named, it's not Asensio, it's not CDK. Now let's move on to Zaniolo. So this is another profile that has been lit up in the comments section. I haven't made a single video about this guy because honestly guys, I never bought this story. I'm pretty confident from the very beginning, very onset, this has just been media outlets just trying to sell newspapers. I think he's too high profile a player for Roma to just sell to Milan, and I don't think this player is at all in the wheelhouse of Milan's budget. I think right now Roma probably wants somewhere in the 50 million mark. That would make him the most expensive player that Milan has purchased in his entire 100 and I don't know how many year history. And I just can't see this new ownership group, this new method of sustainable spending being aligned with a 50 million purchase for an injury-prone Zaniolo. And now it actually appears that possibly Juventus are making a move for Zaniolo. But Zaniolo to Milan, guys, flat out rumor. Now this is the one profile. In the previous video, I think I had upgraded him to possible. He's still possible. Here's the thing about the Hakim Ziyech move, guys. It's perfect financially for Milan. I'm pretty confident Chelsea would be open to a loan move, but how does that loan move conclude is pretty much what they're trying to figure out. Right now, it looks like Milan are trying to do an option to buy, but Chelsea want a permanent conclusion to this deal. The other thing they're trying to figure out is his salary. Are Milan comfortable paying? I think he makes about 6 million. I think Milan are trying to get Chelsea to pay part of his wages. Chelsea doesn't really want to see this guy warm up the bench one more season at that 6 million salary. They'd rather pay him 2 million and have Milan pay the other 4. And I think that's pretty much something that Milan is trying to negotiate alongside the option or obligation to buy at the conclusion of it. But as of right now, guys, Hakim Ziyech to Milan, that is probably the most realistic possibility I see. It's not going to cost us a lot up front. He's a good quality player. He does bring that X factor, that excitement to the attack. Asensio would be an expensive buy. CDK would be an expensive buy. Zaniolo is a ridiculously expensive buy. Hakim Ziyech might be free for 1 year. So that's my guy. Hakim Ziyech remains a possible arrival to Milan. I think Matteo Bonetti possibly tweeted this out, and I wanted to throw this question out to you guys. Why doesn't Milan sign Asensio and Hakim Ziyech and not worry about Renato Sanchez and replacing Kessie? We already have Tonali and Benacer. We have the arrival of Yacine Adli. We have Pobega coming back. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Would you be okay with Milan actually going over Asensio and Hakim Ziyech and just leaving out Renato Sanchez and just using the central midfielders we presently have? Or is Renato Sanchez an important move for the future success of Milan? And going from a young profile to an old profile, the name that is being linked with Milan is Francesco Achebe. I'm not quite sure where these reports suddenly started to come out from, but guys, Achebe is 34 years old. If we look back at that graph, plot the official moves, if we look at that graph and we see, where do you think Achebe would sit on this graph? For me, I think he's gonna sit somewhere in the region of not a very important move, and I don't think he brings us closer to the next title. So I'm not really a very big fan of this. We already have Simon Kier to kind of take care of the young players. I thought the profile was that if we don't spend money on Botman, 30 million on a young Botman, we're instead gonna get a younger profile, not as popular, and spend a little less money. For example, the player that we talked about in the last video, Arthur Theat. That's the kind of player I want, not Achebe. And obviously, if Romagnoli is staying, Achebe is not coming to Milan. I love Achebe's story. The guy fought cancer and is still a professional footballer, so we love that story. So Achebe to Milan at this point in time, guys, I think it's possible. It looks like it's possible, but it's not a move that I'm very excited about. There you have it, Milanisti. Those are some of the profiles we wanted to talk about. The mercato is probably slowly going to start picking up now. We're still waiting for the official renewal of Maldini and Masara. Once that comes in, apparently Milan's transfer mercato is going to go into overdrive. The last little days of June and the beginning of July. The preseason is going to be starting in the middle of July. So we really need the profiles to now arrive in Milan and sign their contracts. At this point in time, guys, that's pretty much what we're waiting for. Be patient, trust in Maldini and Masara, trust in Elliott management. I mean, they got us a Serie A title. What else do we really want? And the only thing that I kind of want is for you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification so you can watch some Milan Corner videos as soon as I upload them. And follow me on Instagram and on Twitter if you have some time. DM me. We're going to talk about some football. I'm replying back to everybody right now. Still catching up on my messages. I see all your DMs, so thank you for that. And as always, Forza Milan! Grazie mille e ciao tutti!